Welcome everyone to a Movie Monday where my movie got picked. my last movie that I chose, which was Yu-Gi-Oh! Pyramid of Light. I guess some backstory with this. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And watch Yu-Gi-Oh! On Kids WB with the dub and everything. I had the cards and stuff, and we had this DVD, which we would play during long car rides and stuff like that. And even though I remember watching it a lot of times, for the majority of the movie, I actually did not remember the majority.
Oh, really?
I remembered specific scenes that I guess we'll talk about as we go through the review and everything. But yeah, I was just like, oh, I didn't remember that. Oh, I didn't remember that either. But I guess before I continue as on my POV with this and stuff, what did you guys think?
You go first.
Well, yeah. Wait, do I go first?
Yes, go. Yes, you go first.
Okay. I watched the TV show. I did not play the game, but you know,
I was terrible at the game.
I guess it was one of my first anime. It was, I guess, among the first 5 or 10 that I watched. The first being Dragon Ball Z, to a lot of people's chagrin in my family. But I was pretty I like the dub. I have fond memories of this dub and the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX dub. But I think something that I found really interesting about rewatching this, watching this movie, I never watched it before, watching this movie, is that the dub is not actually that far off from the humor in the abridged series. And I was just like, wow, there were some jokes in the dub where I was like, are they allowed to reference that? Because they reference Wizard of Oz, they reference Scooby-Doo. There's some lines where I was like, oh my god, wow, I didn't remember them saying things like this. When the dome collapses, I think it was Ryugi's grandfather was like, I don't think that this is covered by insurance. So it was just funny watching it again. The dub itself, not the movie. I had never seen it before.
Ron, this was your first formal Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Because I don't want to upset you.
I mean, we all acknowledge that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has its pitfalls. And
This was really fucking dumb.
yeah.
And
yeah.
half of it in a funny way, but half of it in just a stupid way.
No, I agree with that.
The dub. Okay, the dub. Yeah, there's lines in the dub that are dumb and kind of funny in that sense, but it's just not the actual voice work is not well done. Especially Seto Kaiba, he sounds so stiff.
It's really funny.
It's really not good, and I can't believe that I'm he sounds familiar, and I couldn't picture who it was. I finally looked it up, oh, it's Brock, and then I'm wait, it's so obvious. Once I looked it up, it was just okay.
Yeah, I had never even made that connection before, and I watched Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! In the same block, and it never really
it never occurred to me either, actually.
So, but yeah, there's that, and then pretty almost all the other characters are voiced by people who I've heard in other 4Kids things. Yugi's voiced by the guy who voices Knuckles at Sonic X. The 2 friends that he has, the guys, I forgot their names.
Tristan and Joey?
Sure. They're 2 of the Ninja Turtles in the 2003 series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I reckon I guessed that. I was I think they're Raph and Mikey, and they are where they were. The girl, here's something random as shit. She voiced Kirby in the Kirby anime. For the
What?
Kirby, yeah, in the Kirby anime. I did not. That was not a connection. I was just happened to find that. And what else? Oh yeah, the what's his name? The
Yugi?
no, the asshole guy, the flamboyant guy.
You mean
Pegasus?
Yes, that guy. He's also a Ninja Turtles person. He's Master Splinter, and which is a weird thing to hear. Where I'm like, this is like effeminate Master Splinter, and it's very strange. And then and the fucking Anubis guy was Shredder from Ninja Turtles also. So anyway,
Oh wow.
so all very similar stuff in that sense. But like, okay, so yeah, but like. Part of it is the dialogue is just kind of like cheesy, but again, like a lot of the delivery is not done very well, and I'm not sure like exactly who's at fault for that. Because I have seen, heard people talk about that. A lot of it, like for voice acting, a lot of it actually does come down to like voice directing in terms of like making a line sound convincing.
Director.
So
I feel like it's probably the director because it's very consistent throughout the
Yeah.
entire series, like over everyone.
okay.
But you know, we've heard Brock and you've heard all the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I never really had a problem with like the Ninja Turtle voices in that
I think
show.
it's the directing.
And again, Brock, like, I mean, again, like, Pokemon dialogue is cheesy as shit, too, but, like, I didn't feel like the acting was weird in the show, where here I felt like, I just, like, the amount of emotion that's done or whatever, it just feels off. And, okay, I'm not sure if this is a really controversial opinion, and I acknowledge that, again, this is my first instance of Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff that I've ever seen, so maybe this is a bad thing to judge it on. But the fighting is lame. I find the fighting really boring. Because it's basically
dueling?
Yes, it's so boring. Like literally, like it reminds me of like that, like when you're like an elementary school kid and you're like, let's pretend to fight or whatever, and it's like, I got a gun. Oh yeah, well, I got a machine gun. Well, I got a rocket launcher. Well, I got a bazooka. It's like it's just shit like that where it's like, well, I got the one thing to counter you, and I got the other one thing to counter you, and it just keeps going back and forth, and it's not interesting. And like again, like I don't like the Pokemon anime that much either, but at least like the Pokemon anime, the Pokemon themselves have like characterization, and like these monsters don't have that at all. They're just there to shoot a beam and then like explode into dust, and like that's all they do, and it's not exciting. So I don't know what to say. I don't know if that's really controversial or not, but I found the fighting really boring.
From what I can remember, the movie, the anime actually does dueling a lot differently and stuff, where there is like more sense in it, not that much more sense, but because even I found when I was watching the movie, I was like, this isn't how, from what I remembered from the anime.
They broke a lot of rules.
Yeah, they broke a lot of rules, because there were points in the movie where I was like, wait, you can't do that. Like, even in the show, that's kind of something that can't be, that's like a blatant rule thing. Like, when Kaiba broke Toon World and stuff, like, attacked it, I was like, that's a field card. You can't, like, get rid of a field card by attacking it and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say that the movie is accurate to how the battling normally is. I think because it's a movie and they had like a shortened time instead of like episodes upon episodes for the duels and stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily, not saying that the duels are like these epic proportion things or like Oscar-winning fights or whatever.
Well, yeah, again, there's certain expectations to be had, but I don't know. It's not. Again, I don't know anything about the rules, but it just like the actual fighting aspect of it was not engaging. It was not exciting to me.
The fighting is different. I would say that it's a movie thing. Okay. If we ever get to watch the actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, you can see the difference there. But yeah, because even I was like, this is definite. Like, when he was like, the ability of this monster is to destroy all other monsters, I was like, that is definitely.
Like, yeah, okay. Why would you just do that every single time?
Yeah, there were certain cards that I didn't remember, and I don't know if that's because, like, Seto Kaiba in particular had some many cards, or if that's just because they were made for this movie because they were supposed to like break Yuki's deck. But I was
I
just
think
like,
that was.
what the fuck? I don't remember that.
Not only that, but Yuki's strategy, like Yami's strategy, where he played all through the Egyptian god cards in the beginning of the game.
It had to be a little bit contrived because, like, in the anime, I guess the interesting thing for us was that it's strategy based.
There is a lot of strategy in it, and it isn't just like attack, explode kind of thing. It does. There are things with it and stuff. It's different from the actual card game, but there is more to it. So yeah.
Okay. Well, another thing. Couple small thing first. Another maybe controversial opinion. Yugi looks stupid. I've always thought he looks stupid. His hair's dumb. Okay. Wanted to get that out of the way. Other thing is, I didn't realize that like this was supposed to be like the real world. I always assumed it was like Pokemon, where it's like a fictional world or whatever. But it's real. And like I knew the whole thing is that they're all with like the cards. I knew that was like, you know, the actual thing. But like, I don't know. It feels weird. I don't know how to describe it. Like,
it is
like
weird.
It's supposed to be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Like
I
Pokemon to me, like, yeah, is it kind of contrived with the Pokeball thing? Like, I guess, but like the idea is you're in this fictional world, there are these creatures and they have these abilities. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I can buy into that narrative. But for this, it's like you have these cards that like that you have to put into these things that summon things, and they have these rules. It's like it feels so made up and arbitrary.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know how to. There's a word for it that I'm forgetting. It's not world building. There's another more specific word that I'm missing. But it just
breaking.
Well, no, it's just like it feels like it wasn't. It's not as believable of a scenario.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, sort of. It feels like it feels like someone was again. It feels like a card game, but like it shouldn't. If that makes sense. Like I don't know. It feels. It would be okay. Here's an example. If there was like, let's say there was like a show or a movie or something about like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Okay. Now, in that kind of show or movie, what you would want to see is you'd want to see the characters interacting with each other and going on adventures and fighting things. You wouldn't want a show about Dungeons and Dragons to feel like to have like the characters suddenly like pull out some dice and it's like what? Like it would feel super weird. And it's like this. How does this fit into the actual world? Like that's how I kind of feel about this. So. I don't know, like, again, I know all of these sort of monster stuff, like, you know, collecting things. There's, like, a Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, like, Monster Rancher, there's other shit, too. The only one I know is Pokemon, like, at all. I don't really know anything about any of the others. So, like, I don't know how the other ones handle it, but at least just comparing the two, to me, Pokemon feels way more natural and way more... This is gonna sound weird, but it feels way more realistic in how it's presented in that sense than this. So... I don't know, and maybe like other people just like doesn't bother them that much. I don't know, but and especially for me at least, like in terms of this movie. Sorry, but like in terms of this movie itself, like there's not really that much of a story here.
No.
Or like there's not any like big. There's not any like big character growth or anything. It's just like here's a scenario and they handle it, and so. Yeah. It's like, okay, I didn't really get much from that. I couldn't get into the dueling. The whole world just feels weird, and the dub is stupid, both in kind of a good way and a bad way. So I came away from this feeling like, I don't know, I don't care. This did not excite me to watch more Yu-Gi-Oh! I'll put it that way.
What was I gonna say? I will agree the world building, because I guess I can reveal this. The way that I found this out was very interesting, which is that I was like, oh, I feel like rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, back in the days where you can go on YouTube and find anime and stuff. So I was like, alright, let me search up Yu-Gi-Oh! So I did, and I found it, and it was great, and I watched the first episode, and I was like, this isn't the anime that I watched. What is this? Turns out, Yu-Gi-Oh originally was a completely different like series
Oh right, I think
and
you're
stuff like
Mhm.
that, but like where each it still had the pharaoh thing, but I don't think he was called the pharaoh, and it had a much darker tone and stuff like that. I don't think it ever got a dub, but it was 26 episodes or something. But basically, each episode focused on like a different game and stuff like that. And Duel Monsters was one of those games. And then event later on, someone was like, "Oh, we can make an actual card game out of this," and then that's how we got this Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff. So maybe we can watch the other Yu-Gi-Oh, which I remember it having a much darker tone. Actually,
Because-
there were actual people that got like killed, like
Not Shadow Realm.
not Shadow Realm, like actual murder happened
Okay.
with guns. But
of course the guns,
The gun.
the infamous 4-kid guns.
But anyway, I agree. The world, going back to the other point though, the world was always something that I also like. As time went on, it became hard for me also to like get into and stuff like that. Like eventually, there's like
It gets weirder.
Like there's motorcycles. There's like a whole duel academy. Then there's like interdimensional things with the monsters. It just gets weirder and weirder, and I honestly, this is the last semblance of it feeling like like being set in the quote unquote real world, because it only gets more crazy from here on out, apparently.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that was also why a lot of people outgrew it, also because eventually you kind of just are like there's the world building kind of was, because I think what happened is that they originally intended it to go like to end at a certain point, but then it was really popular, so they kind of just kept building on it. But because they hadn't put that in the beginning, it kind of shows a lot.
Like yeah, I could totally see again like a kid getting into this, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. But like again, like it feels very much like those, like, if I don't know if this is a thing that you ever experienced, but like this so much reminds me of like, you know, young elementary school playground kids being like, we're gonna pretend fight, and like I pull out my weapon or whatever, and it always just comes into like, you know, the kid's just gonna make up whatever he thinks is gonna win, because like obviously kids have no sense of like balance, they just want to win, and like that's how this feels. And so like, and you know, the monsters, especially from like, if I was a kid like looking at the monsters, I think probably a lot of them would look cool, you know, and that's probably what I would care about. So I get it in that sense. But like, yeah, me watching this now for the first time, I'm like, I kind of got nothing from this besides just some dumb shenanigans. So yeah.
The slightly ironic thing is that when we started the movie with like the beginning with the excavation of Anubis or something, I got reminded that I never finished the original series, and the part that I wanted to watch was the part where we find out about the Pharaoh's identity. And I never got to actually see it, and I was just like, maybe I should actually finish that, because I don't know, like one of the main ideas of the original series is that you were supposed to get to know the characters.
Yeah.
And you know, the Pharaoh is one of the main pivotal characters, and I was like, oh, I never got to finish his arc for some reason. I think maybe either
I think they changed the time slot.
They might have changed the time slot, or there was a delay at some point between the stupid filler and this last arc, and I just never got to it, because the next thing I remember after the filler arc was that I started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX on Cartoon Network. And I have a soft spot for it, even though I know it's not great. It's so cheesy, but I really love it. But I was like, oh man, I should finish the original one, because I remember there were some plot points that were actually very like interesting to some of the characters. That's only if like you follow them, but I was like, oh, maybe I should go finish that series. I had just remembered that I never actually watched that arc at all for some reason. So I guess I got reminded of something instead.
Yeah, because the pharaoh has amnesia
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Which I think they mentioned
It is
actually
mentioned
in the movie.
That's how I remembered. I was like, oh, I also had amnesia. I completely forgot to finish the series.
So, yeah, I think I can understand why I didn't remember most parts of this movie.
Probably because it was so foreign to the series.
Yeah, it was actually. I think a lot of, not so much the recent anime movies, but a lot of the early 2000s anime movies and stuff. Usually, it's kind of treated more as an AU kind of thing.
Yeah.
Rather than an
I mean, like, all of the Pokemon movies have, like, nothing
Yeah.
to do with what's
They're
going on
optional.
Yeah, they're all optional. The Detective Conan ones are all optional. I don't know. I can't say for the more recent ones, but I know the ones that I had
The
watched.
Sailor Moon ones are optional.
Oh yeah, Sailor Moon is optional. I think the only one that I can think of that's actually really pivotal is the Digimon movie. Because that actually,
Yeah.
the Digimon movie is actually is really important to watch before watching
I think the third series.
or the first series.
Wait, which? I could see that too. I know that the characters were from the first and second series, so I don't remember what the order was. But I remember really liking it when I was a kid.
Yeah. So, yeah. With that though, let's do our rankings.
I don't know how to rank this.
Yeah, I don't know how to rank this either. I mean, I mainly picked this because I was like, I don't really remember this movie, and why not? I'll just put a random wild card for the
to
thing.
watch the Egypt arc.
I am kind of curious, like, again, if people who did kind of, like, get into this show, like, when they were kids or whatever, is this movie something where they're like, yeah, I have, like, a nostalgic connection to it, or is it one of those situations, like some of the Pokemon movies, where it's like, no, this is just kind of dumb, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm wondering what, like, that viewpoint is for most people. I don't know.
I feel like there is like a tiny, I felt a tiny bit of nostalgia, but not for the movie. I was more so like
the actual series.
Yeah, the actual series. The movie is pretty dumb, even by the TV show standards. It's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I could see me getting more into this if I did feel like there was some actual, like, you know, characterization I could follow, which there basically wasn't at all. But
maybe
the show presumably would have that, so.
Yeah,
it's a commitment though.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, maybe we'll watch it for the show Sunday and stuff.
One of these days.
One of these days, as well as the first Yu-Gi-Oh!
That'll be an interesting comparison,
Yeah,
because I've never
interesting.
seen that series.
I just remember it being pretty dark. In any case, though, I have no idea how I'm gonna rank this.
I mean, I think I know what I'm gonna give it.
Okay.
I didn't, like, hate it, and I didn't feel like, you know, again, like, some of the moments were kind of funny, you know, some of that stuff was alright, so I'm not gonna, like, completely shit on it, but I would say overall, that was, like, I'd say overall I actually kind of felt a bit more negative on it than positive, so I'm actually gonna give it a 4.
No, I was also kind of thinking of 4, actually.
Oh, really?
'Cause,
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I acknowledge that it's a dumb movie. I think more so it made me realize how much I actually remembered from the TV series, because I was like, wait, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not a rule. You can't do that. That card doesn't. You can't do that with that card, or you can't do this with the card and stuff like that. So it made me more so realize how much I actually remembered, which I find kind of astounding because I haven't watched like the actual series in a really long time, and I definitely have not played the card game in a really, really long time. So that was interesting.
I'll probably go with neutral 5 because I mean, I think the main value I got out of this was like, I want to watch that last arc I never finished.
Yeah, I'd be down for rewatching at some point too.
I remember most of the storyline, but I never finished it.
Okay.
Well, I guess to no one's surprise.
No.
We weren't expecting this to be.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't expecting that it would be like amazing. But I'll be honest, I thought it would be a little bit better than that. But again, you know, especially when it comes to anime movies, there again, the quality can be all over the place. Again, like just look at the
Yeah.
Pokemon movies. Like a lot of those are really not good at all. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, shall we introduce what we're doing for next month?
Yes, we are not watching the last movie in this whole. I guess what do we call it? Like,
The wheel, I guess.
yeah, the last movie in the wheel. We are actually going to do something different, which is we're going to have a Ghibli month.
Yep. Continuing with our tradition of having May be just a month of just something. We keep switching what that something is.
We had a Star Wars one, we had a like underrated Disney movies one, and now we're gonna have a Ghibli one.
And we're gonna try to see if we can do actually every week for this. So
Yeah.
Yes.
We have 5 planned, but we have 3 cornerstones if we can't make all of them.
Hmm.
So we're gonna start with the one that I proposed first, which is Castle in the Sky. I really liked this movie.
This was the one DVD that I have.
Yeah.
So I also watched this a lot, and I really enjoyed it. It's also the first Ghibli movie, technically.
Hmm.
So that'll also be interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, well, so here's the thing. So I took Japanese in high school, and
Right.
every now and then we would actually watch one of these movies in Japanese in the class. So
Oh, okay.
I know some of the movies. I know for sure. Yes, I saw this in class. I don't know if I saw Castle in the Sky.
I guess we'll
yeah.
find out.
So we'll see. The only one I can actually, I know I saw Totoro and I know I saw Ponyo, but I don't know if I saw Castle in the Sky. I mean, I've also, again, we watched Spirited Away a bit ago. We watched Nausicaa a bit ago, and yeah. So that's I haven't seen that many Ghibli stuff, and so we'll see what if I have seen this before. If not, if I have seen it again, I don't really remember it very much at all. So. I have like an image in my head that may be from this movie, but it might not even be that. So, yeah.
It's very interesting. Like a lot of the things in the movie, as well as a lot of the stuff that it later inspired and stuff. So, I'm very much looking forward. Like Valen, I think you mentioned that there's 2 songs that are actually being.
Oh yeah. So it's a band called Slice the Cake. Which sounds like a troll band, but they're actually like really good. They're like, I don't know, some kind of like technical / melodic death metal. I don't know. But yeah, there's there's a part, there's sort of a part 1 and a part 2. The part 2 is actually more of like a piano ballad kind of thing, actually. But yeah, they're based on this. They're somehow based on this, though I don't know how, besides just the name of the tracks.
I guess maybe after we watch it, you can figure out what exactly they're talking about.
Yeah, because again, like the first part's actually called Ko Otani's Castle in the Sky, and I believe that's like the composer's name.
Right.
I want to say that's what it is.
There might be one of the staff members.
Yeah, and then the second part is called Castle in the Sky Part 2: Pieces of Ruin. So.
Okay, that would make sense.
That makes sense.
Okay, that does make sense. Okay. So,
that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll find out, I guess. Okay. Well, that's next week. Oh, and the last thing that I want to say, just to kind of plug something of my own here, with the D&D campaign that I have been posting, we are very soon approaching what I am calling the end of Season 1. So,
Woohoo!
Yay!
It's ramping up very soon here, and shit's about to go down. So,
Woo.
Well, shit's kind of already started going down, but anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyway, so that will be. I've been posting those on Thursdays, so that should continue. But then yeah. So next Monday will be Castle in the Sky.
Uh,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.